Hey, listen up. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today on my channel, I will be reviewing The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub. Now, if you've followed my reviews thus far, you know that I'm reviewing every Stephen King book in order of publication, from Carrie all the way up till the current books. We are to The Talisman now, and the first ever book that Stephen King collaborated on with Mr. Straub, an equally good fantasy writer. Well, maybe not equally, but he's good in his own right, that's for sure. If you want to see where I rank all the horror novelists, I do have a video of my ranking of the top horror novelists, in my opinion. I'll link to that at the end of this video. Top horror novelists, you'll see where Peter Straub ranks in my ranking. Anyway, let's get right to the book, The Talisman. As you know, if you've been following these books, I usually have the lights off and the Christmas lights on and all these candles lit and everything. So I thought I would try just going with the normal natural lighting this time, because the candles, when they flicker, they really make my other videos kind of blur in and out a little bit, kind of off-putting. So I got to fix that a little bit. We might go back to the candles at some point. We'll see. I really do love the candles. Most people like the candles. I'm just afraid the cat's going to come and knock one of them down when I'm in the middle of the video and burn my house down. But anyway, enough about the candles. Let's talk about The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub. It's kind of a poor man's version of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series. I don't know how else to explain it. You know, it's about a quest, a journey that a young kid goes on named Jack Sawyer. And I do know, I'm pretty sure that this is a play on the Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, sort of his journey through the South. Tom Sawyer, well, the main character in The Talisman is called the Jack Sawyer. And I think that they're kind of riffing off of the Tom Sawyer book and the quest that Tom Sawyer goes on. And it's kind of also like The Dark Tower. Another series I would compare it to would be Tad Williams' Otherland, the virtual reality quest that Tad Williams sends his characters on. Very, very magical, very mysterious, very out there. It's kind of like The Dark Tower is very magical, mysterious, and out there. This is a very magical, mysterious, out there type book for Stephen King. It's a quest novel. The basic plot is Jack Sawyer moves from California to New Hampshire, to Acadia Beach, New Hampshire, with his mother. It kind of reminded me of when the Karate Kid moved with his mother, and they got a place, and the Karate Kid wasn't that happy about it. Well, Jack Sawyer ain't that happy about moving to New Hampshire. Well, he goes to this little carnival area by the beach, and he meets this guy named Speedy Parker, who talks to Jack about this other land called the Territories. And I won't spoil a lot of things, because I do non-spoiler reviews. I like people to read the book and sort of figure out the adventure as they go. But there's something wrong with Jack's mother, and he needs to save her. But the only way he can save her is to get this talisman out of this sort of alternate universe that's called the Territories. And he does go into the Territories, and he goes on this big, epic quest, sort of by himself, where he meets a lot of different quirky characters along the way. Some werewolves, I guess you would say. He hooks up and gets a job at a diner for a little bit of time. And I like the characters that he meets up with, especially the guy, the abusive owner of the diner, and the teenage girl that works at the diner. Some of these things are fun. Don't get me wrong. It seems like I'm kind of being like not that jazzed about the book, but there are parts of it that I like. But like I said, it's like a poor man's Dark Tower. It really is. It's kind of like it's not as powerful or as magical as the Dark Tower series, with a lot of the same elements that the Dark Tower series has. And I would like to know how it was written, a collaboration. I don't like collaborations mostly. You know, there's very few of them that I read that I like. I do semi-like this book, but I would like to know, you know, who really did the bulk of the writing? Was this a Peter Straub written book that Stephen King just put a stamp on it? Um, was it like a true collaboration? Was it a 50-50 thing? I don't know. I'd like to know that, because it reads not quite like a Stephen King book, but like someone's trying to write like a Stephen King book, which isn't bad, which is not a bad thing. It's just I found this book to be slightly less interesting than The Dark Tower. Maybe it's because The Dark Tower is a much broader universe. Although The Talisman, it's set in the same universe as all of the Stephen King stuff, and there are references to The Dark Tower and The Gunslinger and even Tommyknockers in this book. So it's got all the Stephen King trappings. I know I didn't talk about the plot that much, because it's such a simple plot. It's just one boy off in a universe, an alternate universe to our own, on a quest to gain a talisman to save his mother's life. And that's the plot. That's pretty much it. And his name is Jack Sawyer, and he runs into quirky characters, and he goes through adventures, and that's what it is. And now there's other things that happen towards the end, but like I said, with a spoiler-free review, we're not going to get into that. You'll have to discover it yourself. So what do I think of The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub? Now, you know they did the Black House, which is right here. I don't know if in this light you can see the cover, but it's, you know, that's the sequel, which I will be reviewing later on in my series of reviews. We'll get to that one. The Talisman, kind of an average book for me. I'd say about a 7.5 out of 10. That's maybe a little bit better than average for me. And I'm bumping it. I mean, I probably would have went with 7, but we'll go 7.5 because we'll pretend that Stephen King wrote 50% of this for the extra 5.5 points. All right, 7.5 out of 10, The Talisman. As you know, if you followed my reviews, every book I write, The Forgetting Moon, all of them are dedicated to Stephen King, Motley Crue, and the Oakland Raiders, because those were the 3 most important things to me as a kid. So they get a shout out in the videos too. So go get it. The Talisman by King and Straub.